Welcome back. This is Newsfile, and here on Newsfile we put Ghana first. Newsfile is proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group and as close as a partner. MTN, everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way, dial *165# on MTN to join My Way today. Syntex Tank, it's strong, it's tough. Activa International Insurance, our clients, our passion. International Facilities Management Association and Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature. So I've been joined by my honorable gentlemen. Joining me in studio, we have Frederick Emisa, who is technical advisor to the Minister for Finance. Frederick, welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well.
Fantastic.
Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. And next to Frederick is my very good friend, Richard Ahiagba, who is Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. Richard, welcome.
It will be nice to see you.
Nice seeing you too. Next to Richard, we have my senior at the bar, lawyer and senior vice president of Imani Africa, lawyer Kofi Bentel. Kofi, welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well.
Good. Yes,
Fantastic.
I am.
Fantastic. And then, Professor of Finance and Economics at the University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Godfred A. Bokwen. Prof, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
I hope you're doing well.
Good morning to our cherished viewers and listeners. Yes, I'm doing well. How's the economy is doing? That's a compliment.
That's a good one. Fantastic. So maybe I'll start with you, Frederick, because you are from the Ministry of Finance. You would recall that within the week, COCOBOD issued a statement.
Yes.
And even before I ask my question, let me remind our viewers and our listeners that one more guest will be joining us via Zoom, Nana Eduna II. He is spokesperson for the Ghana Cocoa Farmers Association and also a cocoa entrepreneur. So he will join us via Zoom, as I said. Frederick, I'll come back to you. And
sure.
The statement was simple. It sought to compare the Farmgate price in Ghana to other countries in West Africa and concluded that Ghana is paying some good cash to our cocoa farmers. I've read elsewhere and I've heard some people say, and in fact I interviewed Dr. Randy Abe on the 4th of August when the new price was announced. And he made the point that he is expecting La Côte d'Ivoire to name their price for the 2025-2026 season. So would the statement not be premature in terms of the comparison?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners. I would say that to start with the price comparison, yeah. And we say this because we just want to project, or we just want to state that we are not doing badly when it comes to welfare of the cocoa farmer. I mean, the reason why these comparisons are being done is because of the idea that governments may be in a way shortchanging the cocoa farmer. But you see, before I go on for us to go into the analysis, let me just give a brief context of what the cocoa industry was when we took over and where we are taking it to, vis-a-vis where we are now. Now, you recall that, we took over a cocoa industry which was debt-ridden, a cocoa industry with its regulator in debt of over 32 billion Ghana cedis. We also were in essence, what that means is that the regulator itself was hampered in the delivery of its regulatory mandates. To the extent that we for about 30 years, we went to the international markets, syndicated markets. But for the last couple of years, we were not able to because of the nature or the state of the regulator. What it meant was that we ceded the role local players were playing, especially the local ABCs were playing, to foreigners. We were not able to raise the funding to fund them. So currently, as we speak, it is foreigners or foreign entities which play a heavy role in the transportation or in the value chain of our cocoa, which portends a danger because I mean, one day, if they pack their bag and baggage and go, how do we manage our cocoa industry? So this was a situation we came to meet. Now, we also came to meet an FOB price. And it is the whole pricing issue that is bringing about this whole conversation. The FOB price currently announced, first of all, is a fulfillment of President Mahama's promise to give at least 70% of the international FOB price to cocoa farmers. So let's just get that. That President Mahama has fulfilled his promise of giving cocoa farmers 70% of the FOB price. Now, you may say 70% of the FOB price, so what? We compare that to what he inherited, where the FOB price was, I mean, if you look at the average cocoa FOB price for 2023 and even 2024, it was going for around 7,300. But government, in calculating the Farmgate, the previous NPP government, calculating the Farmgate, sets the Farmgate at 4,800. So even though the international market price was quoting on average was quoting 7,200, government then set it at 4,800, and then went on to pay farmers 3,100 of the Farmgate. So if you do a bit of calculation, I mean, on the face of it, government may say that I was paying farmers, let's say 63.9%. But if you compare it with the market, government was paying just about 40% of the Farmgate, compared to around 70% or 70% currently that President Mahama is paying.
But that's also 70% of the FOB price.
The FOB price. Mm-hmm. But our FOB price is what the international FOB price is. We have not marked it down. The average FOB price, projected FOB price, is around 7,200, which we have struck the 70% on the fully and given it to the farmer. As compared to an FOB price, which was around 7,300, a markdown was made to about 4,850, and then 63%.
Yeah, but to the ordinary cocoa farmer, his interest will be in the Farmgate price. At the end of the day, that's what is coming into his or her pocket. And when you look at the Farmgate price and you do the comparison, you raise it by just some 4.1% as compared to the 3,100 the NPP paid.
Yes, in CD terms.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because we pay them in CD.
We pay them in CD. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to lay the foundation that the conversation President Mahama, or the promise President Mahama gave, was in respect of the FOB price, which he has kept.
That's the 70%.
That's the 70%.
The accusation has been made that some leading members of your party also promised Farmgate price of some 6,000 Ghana.
In the circumstance of that time. In the circumstance of that time. At that time, the rate at which the CD was being used to convert the dollar was 16.
It was actually 15.5.
Okay. So the rate at which it was higher. Now, we are doing about 10.25.
Sure.
And, I mean, we say that we want the economy to improve. The city has done so well. That is why we have a lower rate now. Now, to compensate for that, that is why the 70% is so critical. It's important to say that it is an increase, albeit you may want to say that not significant. Not significant. But you see, if you want to work it with the 16%, the 15.5, you will realize that, I mean, for pound, you realize that is quite a significant increase. To say that because the CD has appreciated and that in nominal terms, the CD value, the increase in the CD value may not be the same as the nominal terms increase of the dollar value, is to say that maybe we might as well go to bed and allow our currency or allow the macroeconomy to do whatever it wants to do. Whatever we do, something must give. But the most important thing is that President Mahama has kept his promise. Now, we are looking at the livelihood of the cocoa farmer. Yes. We are not just looking at some nominal amounts of money. We are looking at, in the midst of all this, what can the cocoa farmer do with that 51,000 per bag? Okay. Sorry, per ton. Mm-hmm. Sorry, per ton. Okay. We are looking at a cocoa farmer who now, when he goes to buy fuel, he's paying less for a liter of fuel. We are looking at a cocoa farmer, when he goes to buy a bag of maize, he's paying less for a bag of maize. When he goes to buy cooking oil, he's paying less for cooking oil. When he goes to buy rice, he's paying less for rice. So what we are saying is that...
You mean now?
Now.
How about a bag of cement?
You see, all prices may not go down the same way. But I'm telling you that major components or major things that used to determine the standard of living of the people, of the cocoa farmer and the ordinary Ghanaian has decreased, thereby improving the standard of living of the cocoa farmer in general. Now, what I'm saying is that, you see, it is important for us to put everything in context and understand that the producer price increase from $3,100 to $5,040, which is about 62%.
You mean the FOB?
The FOB.
Yes.
The FOB, which was a promise kept by President Mahama, is very significant. We shouldn't downplay that, because so within the second quarter, do you know that President Mahama's government was paying almost 100%, was giving almost 100% of the FOB price to cocoa farmers?
Because of the performance of the cedi?
Yes, because of the performance of the cedi. Even though the cedi was trading around 10 points, the rate we are, President Mahama kept the rates at the 15.5 for the second half of the year, or the second quarter of the year. So literally, everything we had, we were giving it to the farmers. I mean, I'm saying this to show the commitments of President Mahama or the NDC government to the plight of the cocoa farmer. And you see, let me, I just want us, Obi, I just also...
You end on that for me. I have Nana on the line. He is a cocoa farmer himself, so maybe he would appreciate some of the points you're raising. So make your final point.
Yes, my final point is that in addition to this increase in both the dollar and the cedi value or the Farmgate price, President Mahama is also, we are also giving, free fertilizers, free insecticides, free praying machines, fungicides, and free flower inducers. And we are also launching the tertiary scholarship for children of cocoa farmers. So all in all, we are seeing a significant improvement in the livelihood of the cocoa farmer, not just in nominal terms, but in real terms.
Very well. Just to add that the tertiary scholarship will take effect from the 2026-2027 academic year. And the free fertilizer and all the good stuff he mentioned would kick in as and when it's ready. But let me speak to Nana Eduna, the second, who is joining us via Zoom. Nana, if you can hear me, good morning. Nana, please unmute so we can hear you.
Good morning, sir.
Fantastic.
And greetings to your viewers and listeners.
Fantastic. We are happy to have you on.
Yes, sir, go on.
Super. I believe you heard Frederick, who is the technical advisor to the Minister in charge of Finance, telling us about some of the good things this government has done for cocoa farmers in terms of the percentage of the FOB they are paying to the cocoa farmer in Ghana. They've kept their promise of 70% of the FOB price. Good news, right?
I laugh. Good news. Good morning, and good morning to your viewers, listeners. My name is Nana Eduna II, and importantly, I'm speaking from underneath a cocoa tree. Importantly, and right in the city of Accra, where we've opened our Heritage and Cacao Heritage and History Museum. I mean, because without going back to understand the full story of how we got here, it's difficult for people like the technical advisor, who's for want of a better, who's speaking a lot of fine technical financial jargon, but really on the ground and in real life practice, it doesn't really mean much. Just to answer or just to respond to, first, I'd like to say that this notion of free is actually very false, because whatever that is used to run the operations of COCOBOD, to import fertilizer through procurement contracts to cronies of politicians, etc., actually comes from the deduction of the price that COCOBOD and the government sell at the London terminal market price. And so that is actually part of what we cocoa farmers are actually putting in. So for anybody to come and tell us that the thing is free is actually deceptive. So let's get that fact very, very clear. You know, people talk about scholarships but if you don't actually even have the basic fundamentals right from primary school in terms of the suffering and the hardships that some of the farmers experience, how do you then benefit from tertiary education and free scholarships? You know, the history of a lot of these incentives of free stuff for cocoa farmers that people talk about, and let's start right from the Cocoa Marketing Board scholarship, which Kwame Nkrumah instituted, was because it was seen as an incentive to encourage or to more like supplement what cocoa farmers at the time were giving up for the development of the country. Over time, there's been a lot of abuse of these privileges and these systems, whether through cronyism, through political mismanagement, through stuff like the syndicated loan for about 32 years continuously, etc. But let me come back to a very important point. You see, to run a business, and cocoa is a business, unfortunately, currently, what's happening in Ghana is that cocoa has been lumped more, is being seen more as a political football. But running the cocoa sector is a business. And running a farm, operating a cocoa farm, is a business. None of we cocoa farmers are employed by government. Not a single one of us. We are free private entities. It is just because of the way we've structured our cocoa system from the colonial era, that is why we are stuck with, or we are hamstrung with this COCOBOD system, or this so-called statutory monopoly. But let me answer again and emphasize very importantly. Before you actually put a price to something as a business person, you have a cost of production.
Yeah.
A cost of production means the cost of utilization of land, how much the inputs that you cost. Importantly also, labor. The cost of labor, especially in the cocoa sectors, has increased astronomically for two factors. One, competing with galamsey or the illegal gold mining. Two, this whole entry into our system of the Okada, where the young men rather would prefer to ride bikes, than actually go and provide labor on the farms, which is paid labor anyway. Three, another factor which a lot of people don't realize, free SHS. And so the opportunity for people to be educated, fine, that's okay. But these have had significant impact on both the availability, these three things have had a significant impact on both the availability plus the cost of labor. Now, if you factor all these things, plus the fact that a lot of this so-called free stuff that they talk about, eventually one gets sold, and two, it's not even available at the right time that the inputs are needed. The third, the last most important thing is that when you look at the average age of the cocoa farmer, it's actually pushing on past 60, 65. Now, there are many very, very good reasons why we are not attracting younger people into cocoa. And it's very simple. If we are still relying on the cutlass and the hoe, which in itself is expensive because of how much can one person do, the need for a proper price to be paid such that we, the farmers, can invest in technology and simple handheld tools, simple handheld machines, etc., that are powered by lithium batteries, etc. that actually improve the efficiency. You know, so somebody
So you've made some really cogent points, but government has made the argument simply that, but for the fact that the CD is performing so well against the dollar, maybe the Farmgate price would have been bigger than what they are paying now. In the last cocoa season, the government then had a CD to dollar exchange of 15.5. Now they are doing 10.25. So even when the FOB price is higher, they are paying 5,040. But because you have to measure that against the prevailing CD to dollar rate, that's how come they are paying what they are paying now. So you cannot blame them, can you?
Can I respond to that and say that, you know, it's been said a couple of times, and I shared a Fitch article with your producer. I don't know whether you got hand of it.
Yes,
you know, there are very, very simple, straightforward fiscal and operational constraints within our current cocoa model. There's a lot of waste, there's overemployment, there's a bloated bureaucracy, and so many other things, which is actually sitting on our ability to give the end producer, the farmer, the right appropriate price. Listen, I can mention off the top of my head the divisions of COCOBOD. Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, CRIG, absolutely critical research. Cocoa Marketing Company, CMC, recharge of foreign operations, etc. Absolutely critical, can be done in a different way. Cocoa Quality Control Company, QCC, absolutely critical. Important for quality, absolutely critical. Cocoa Health and Extension Division, SHED, can be done away with. They should go and farm. Seed Production Division, they can be done away with. They should go and farm. All those skills are sitting. Look, if you sent an email to COCOBOD right now, it will take you 20-something days or whatever to even even if you get a response.
Really?
There's such inefficiency in the system. What is public affairs? What does public affairs know about cocoa? There's so much that we can do without in this our current artificial intelligence, technology, whatever. What's all this waste for? Is it jobs for the boys or is it jobs for the girls? No, let's get serious about how we restructure and let's have an honest discussion. We cannot continue doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome.
No, you hold on for me. I'll come back to you. Just hold on for me. I'll come back to you. I think you've raised some really interesting perspectives. Richard, let me hear your opinion on this. Government has said that we are where we are because of the effective management of our forex. So now they are using 10.25. You used in the last season 15.5. And that's how come cocoa farmers are getting what they are getting now. But for the good performance of the CD, maybe they would be paying a little over 5,000 Ghana cedis Farmgate price. That has been the argument. What do you think?
The non-argument. That's deceptive.
Really?
It is completely deceiving farmers. You know, the whole NDC setup, Obi, has been live from day one. All of the 2024 campaign, at least I'm focusing on that because that's where the promise of we're going to pay cocoa farmers more came to light. Some of them went as far as saying that we're going to pay 7,000. The finance minister, who you advised, campaigned in his constituency, telling people that this government, the Akufo-Addo government, was keeping their money, and that when he comes, he'll pay them 6,000. In fact, after January 10th or so, he had an event where he said he will pay 6,000. In fact, that gave a farmer confidence to say that what he is going to pay is good because they have struggled for years with poor pricing. It's his published document. Okay? Now, so the question is, Obi, what is all this story? President Mahama showed us how to detect if somebody is backtracking and somebody is lying from what he has said he will do, and then he's changing his position. He says that when the person begins to stammer, begin to say, then you know the person is lying. My brother here, technically based on President Mahama's definition, he's just been lying to us. And the farmer who practically was telling us says that everything he was saying is fine English. That's it. You haven't said much. Look, when they were saying they will pay 70%, if you take 70% of the price we offer, FOB, which is 49,000 or so per ton.
48,000
per ton, 70% of that is not 6,000. But that was the impression you created. You said you were going to pay people 6,000. Now you have come to power. Now you are making argument about 70% and that is promise achieved. You didn't say that your finance minister didn't say 70%. If 70% does not equal 6,000, then you have not fulfilled your promise.
No, it's 70% of the FOB, which is in dollars.
Yes.
So you would have to do the conversion.
I agree.
And then you get the Farmgate price in cedis.
Yes. I'm just keeping this very fundamental. You do all those calculations per bag. We're looking at a promise that says you're going to pay 6,000. Okay. And the finance minister said that without compulsion in January, after he knew he was going to be finance minister, says that he will pay 6,000. Now they are making argument about FOB exchange rate that is gone down, and so therefore wickedly that is affecting them. It doesn't make any sense. Your promise is independent of whatever situation, because when you were making it, you knew the dynamics of the market will not be held constant.
Well, the argument has been that they made that promise based on the prevailing conditions at the time.
And I'm saying that
now the conditions may have changed, especially the cedi to dollar.
No problem. So the time that they were making the promise, they will pay 70%,
yes,
which is indicating that they would offer a better price to the farmer to win an election. Would 70% of the prevailing price then be equal to 6,000? The answer is no. The answer is no. But then they dribble farmers to believe that that's what they were coming to do. So now, if you have named the price, give the price. Otherwise, you lie to Ghanaians. They owe Ghanaians apology.
Irrespective of the conditions.
Nothing would suffice. They owe Ghanaians apology. He made a point about, there's a point that government kept the price, I think, second half of this year when prices were, coming down, and therefore they kept the 3,100 price, and assuming that they have given farmers 100%. That's another big lie. Look, Ivory Coast, who you always want to compare yourself to, in the second quarter, they actually increased price. They did increase. You didn't. And you held it there and say that you have done well by the farmers. You haven't. So the thing is not about speaking English about this thing. It's basic. People have produced a crop for a season. You are going to buy it. You promise you will buy it at a higher price. Now, in fact, Obi, this whole exchange rate conversation is even another fallacy. Because really, and I wonder, they announced this new price in August, right?
Yes.
And they used 10.25.
10.25.
Okay. They used 10.25. Obi, today, what is the exchange rate?
Almost hitting 11.
11. So are they going to recalibrate it? Remember when they were in opposition, they were talking about they will do spot pricing. Okay? So is that going to feature? Because if you calculate the price now with the exchange rate now, it's going to be more than the 3,228. So is that what you are going to do, sir?
But can that be done?
I'm asking him, he's here. Are you going to do that?
You want an answer?
Yes. Are you going to do it? Because your target is 6,000. Your minister said it. I'm going to read it towards the end of this. He said it. And the farmer took solace in that. In fact, there's one economist, Mary Opon, actually cautioned the minister that what he is saying, is he able to deliver when he was making that promise? And here we are. It's just shown that the minister cannot do it. In fact, the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, at a program, one of his Thank You Toll programs, was saying to Ghanaians and cocoa farmers, that look, the chief executive of COCOBOD, my good brother, Dr. Randy Abe, will announce, I told him that in August they will announce a cocoa price, and it will be a very, very, very good price. And at that program, he was urging people who were not cocoa farmers to go and find land and start planting cocoa. Okay? So that creates a certain impression of something groundbreaking going to happen. Now here we are, a measly 128 cities and 75 persons or so. How groundbreaking is that? 6,000. And the increase they can afford is less than 130 Ghana cedis. So the NDC owes Ghanaians apology. First of all, the larger Ghanaian population an apology, specifically cocoa farmers an apology. Because what they told them, for which reason, what is a Kwame Mensah or some cocoa farmer like that in Western region, I read the publication for you, said that they are happy for once that they are going to get a better deal. They told Ghanaians that the new patriotic party, the Akufo-Addo government, is keeping their money. Because they could pay them 6,000 and we are not paying them. And the deception there is that if you do the 70% calculation, they say it's groundbreaking. My brother said President Mahama has fulfilled his promise. And I brought the social contract for purpose. If you make promises to people, you must deliver it. Otherwise, Obi, where we are heading to, our democracy will be taken for a joke. If politicians will sit on platform, strategically come up with lies, well-reasoned lies, and they carry it through, even after they have won, instead of tracking back, they still further that conversation.
But Richard, to be fair, because we don't pay cocoa farmers in dollars, you cannot have this argument without recourse to the prevailing forex rate. That would be disingenuous, because at the end of the day, you have to convert. And in conversion, if the CD is doing well, something would have to give, as he said.
That's English he's spoken, but the point is that, don't they know that when they made the promise? They're not naive, are they? They've been in government before. They were making the promise. The finance minister, January 2025, made the promise to pay 6,000. Are you saying that he doesn't know all these dynamics? Then we're in a much bigger trouble if he didn't know that. You get it? He knows everything. He knows what it was. Don't they know that the MPP was dealing with all those circumstantial matters? For which reason we're paying what we're paying? They say, no, we're keeping their money. They knew that. My good brother, didn't you know? You're the advisor. You should know. Well. Didn't you know that? Did you or not?
You want him to answer?
Yes, of course. Otherwise, then we're in a much bigger trouble. Because they knew. But what it was that it was a calculated lie they were forwarding. And they knew that they can deceive Ghanaians by that. And Obi, I want to read this thing.
Finally.
Finally. I'll do that. Okay. This is a farmer. You see, a farmer who grows cocoa. I'm just getting to the middle of the story. A farmer who grows cocoa all around farmers who grow cocoa all around the nation have expressed relief and hope. Western region farmer Kwame Mensah stated, this raise will enable us to better our farms and provide for our families after too long of struggling with poor pricing. Okay?
And this is
Ghana Web.
Okay.
Yes, 10th January 2025. And there in the same thing, the economist that I referred to, Mary Opon, told the minister, and I can even read that, to say that he was saying to the minister that what he's promising, the pledge he's making, she's not sure he can keep that pledge. But the finance minister went full steam ahead to say that that's what he's going to deliver.
Very well.
Now my good brother is here, running around in circles, arguing 70% of FOB, which is not equal to 6,000, talking about every other thing that they gave almost 100% to farmers second quarter of the year, which is not close, which is not 6,000. So the question I am asking is that, what has happened to your promise to pay 6,000?
Very well. Frederick, hold on for me. I'll come back to you. Let me go to lawyer Kofi Bentel. Kofi, so you heard the spokesperson of the cocoa farmers, and essentially, he thinks the bureaucracy managing cocoa in Ghana is too huge. And that's how come they are not getting the full benefit of their toil as cocoa farmers. You agree?
Absolutely correct. Indeed, he's not the first person who has said it. We have said it in the money many times in the past. We've said, from first principles, do we need COCOBOD? Why was COCOBOD created? When it was created, the idea was COCOBOD will be a help to farmers. by doing things for them that they couldn't do for themselves because the idea was that they were not organized. So it was mobilizing help to farmers. And the way to deal with that was, okay, mobilize the cocoa, sell it, take a bit of it, and for instance, do mass spraying, do all those things. That was the original idea. And from when independence and we set it up and we were working, it was good. It helped farmers and it helped the country. It mobilized for the country. Because you had some people who were thinking about farmers and thinking about bettering their lot. An important point about Nana, who just spoke, that man you just saw is the potential future of the cocoa industry. If we abolish COCOBOD, we have said over the years, you can check, that as we speak, and from an Imani point of view, per analysis, from a first principles point of view, COCOBOD is a net negative to this country. Yes. If COCOBOD did not exist, the gentleman who just spoke and people like him can organize better, export their cocoa, make better prices. Today, even today, with the promises from the politicians, they are promising to pay them 70%. That's a 30% tax. We have said also in the past, fortunately I have Prof. Bopin here, he's a fellow and he will do the economic numbers. We have said in the past that cocoa farmers in this country are amongst the most taxed. How do you tax poor people to that extent? And for what? It is Prof. Bopin who said that the COCOBOD has more V8 than cocoa beans. And he's right. And I'm saying, look, as we speak, you have that huge behemoth, that huge organization. It is just making people rich and farmers poor. And today, as we speak, COCOBOD is a net negative to the average farmer and a net negative to this economy. Look at the debt hanging on them. Who do you think is going to pay that? That is impacting our city. All of us are paying for that. When you start doing the analysis, you realize that we've treated COCOBOD like we've treated every other, state entity. Good ideas, and then you put people there, and it simply makes people rich and makes the country poor. COCOBOD is in the same league as other entities like Tamale Refinery. Same story. Great ideas should have been, a positive on our economy. It starts just leaking off the economy, and then individuals are getting rich. Busts.
But would that mean we should scrap COCOBOD completely?
I'm telling you.
If it's inefficiency in management, why don't we fix that?
You think we haven't tried fixing it? We've been saying these things, and people think we are talking ideology. All right? The problem is government. You have people there are too many people wearing suits sitting in COCOBOD who don't listen to Nana. The gentleman who just spoke. Did you get the intelligence and the knowledge of the cocoa industry? How many people in COCOBOD understand it like he does? And why does anybody think that those guys sitting in COCOBOD wearing suits can do a better job than Nana? So why should Nana be paying them? And this idea that people are revulsed by, nobody owes anybody a living. When a cocoa farmer is struggling in the farm, and you come and say, I am going to help run your life, and I'm going to make it better, and you end up taking 30% of his money. And by the way, please, it is extremely disingenuous to use the exchange rate at any point in time.
Why so?
Let me tell you, when the currency of a country strengthens, the potential economic benefit is far higher than the downside. People tell you the theories about export, whatever it is. We have had damaged currency and our export hasn't increased. But if it strengthens, everything gets better. The simple thing, and I'll leave it to the economists, the simple thing is this. If you promise farmers 6,000, you can pay them 6,000 in stages, and you take the hit.
Government should take the hit.
Absolutely, why not? You're taxing them 30%. And who should take the hit, you or them? Who is doing the work? So they should stop this argument about it's the exchange rate. The simple question is, who should take the hit? If you say 6,000, pay 6,000. Because you see, if the other thing happens, they are not going to flip it. Okay, so look, dealing with the broad issues, I'm saying, look, COCOBOD at a point was a positive. It was a vehicle that added to what we had. If you spend 10 cedis on COCOBOD, COCOBOD will deliver 100 cedis to you because it helped us. In fact, the building of the University of Ghana, if you know the history of it, okay, they came up with this simple idea. Let's take a bit of money from each cocoa bag. They took it in a targeted way. That's why we have that institution there.
That's why we have a Kwafu Hall.
That's why it's named Kwafu Hall. Okay? The cocoa scholarships. He said, okay, these people,
let's organize something and help their kids to grow. People sitting in Accra who can't tell the difference between a cocoa
tree and
are the ones. But I am making a simple point, and the simple point I'm making is from first principles. It does not make sense to take the money of poor, hard-working farmers and give it to Accra-based suit-wearing people sitting in air conditions. Look at the number of people working in COCOBOD, and for these people not to be helping the farmers, but essentially leeching off them, sapping them, and sucking them dry. If we collapse COCOBOD today, Ghana's economy will be better and farmers will be better. They can organize
But how would farmers be better, and how would the poor farmer in Seshioso organize better, export the cocoa beans from Ghana? How would he do it?
This idea of poor farmer from Seshioso, which is true in a certain sense, is very wrong in another sense. Listen, before COCOBOD, before we established an organized system for buying and selling cocoa, farmers were selling and exporting cocoa. And indeed, the middle class in Ghana, the park grants, were either traders or cocoa farmers. It was cocoa that was making people rich. Go to your village now. When you see an old, well-built building, it used to belong to a cocoa farmer.
Yeah,
we have moved cocoa farmers, when they were on their own, from being the middle class and the upper middle class persons in this country who were feeding the gentlemen in Accra and made them poor. So this poor farmer, cocoa farmer from, you just saw a cocoa farmer. And you saw the intelligence coming out of that gentleman. On Zoom.
Cocoa farmer
On Zoom. Sitting under a cocoa tree. Okay? And so we have these concepts. And this is what leads to a situation where they say, oh, so somebody must organize and help them. And then you go and bring people who have no idea what cocoa farming is about. And then the next thing, they buy a series of V8s, they sit inside, and then that cocoa farmer has to fund their life, which has no bearing on them. Listen, we have therefore conceptualized this whole thing wrong.
Okay.
All right? And I'm saying from first principles, if the existence of COCOBOD does not add to the cocoa industry, if indeed it is a net negative to the average farmer and a net negative to the economy of Ghana, from first principles, scrap it and let's start something afresh.
Very well.
It is possible that cocoa or COCOBOD can organize to make cocoa better, but today they are not doing so. And I don't see a reason why you can't call Nana and a couple, and I've met a couple of them. A lot of chiefs, very educated, they're involved in cocoa farming. We have a situation today, let me tell you for a fact. The analysis shows that in the next 30 years, if we don't stop Galamsey, cocoa farming cannot compete against Galamsey. The economics is just not there. So we will lose our cocoa farms to Galamsey. So we really need to sit up and decide what we're going to do about cocoa industry. And COCOBOD is the problem, not the solution.
Thank you. I'll bring Prof in, but and Prof, I would refer you to an article by Dennis Asare. Dennis is a senior research fellow, associate actually at Imani Africa. And he writes a very interesting article titled "Sweet Prices, Bitter Livelihood: The Reality of the Ghanaian Cocoa Farmer." And the data he shares is worrying. I mean, the fact that close to 70% of Ghanaian cocoa farmers cultivate just at most 2 hectares. And then that can give them close to some $8-9 a year.
Yes.
And where it gets even worrying is the fact that when you take the average cocoa farmer in Ghana, who should earn a living income of $1.96 every day, is doing way less than that. Based on even the current $3,228 we are paying them, they are still not making that average $1.96 pesos for close to 70% of cocoa farmers. And that's really scary.
You mean that that's
what is wrong?
They are in extreme poverty, essentially.
Too much. Yeah. What is wrong with the economics?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to our cherished listeners. And my big boss is here, so I was wondering, it's like he has taken all the points out of
to talk about.
Okay, thank you very much. So I agree with Kofi largely. Look, the pricing regime, the management structure has only left the cocoa farmer poorer. Let me take you a little back into history. When colonization changed our economic model from food dependency to cash crops, cocoa farmers were the ultimate beneficiaries.
They were the richest.
Yes. They were the richest. They were the richest. When we took over, when fellow Ghanaians took over, I hope you understand that.
I get you.
This is the results. My father was a cocoa farmer. I mean, and we talk about cocoa scholarships.
Yeah.
Maybe COCOBOD should do the analysis and tell us over the years how many cocoa farmers' children have truly benefited from the administration of cocoa scholarship and all of that over the years. And all, look, you just have to go to the villages and see what cocoa farmers are going through. But you see, if you look at what we are talking about right now, it's years of neglect.
Sure.
So we are putting all the blame now on the current administration. Look, I don't want to go into the politics of it. And if you are talking about apology, both the NPP and DC, they owe Ghanaians apology. Big time. I won't go into the details of all of that, but I'm going to talk about just 3 things that have heightened this discussion. 1, exchange rates. The aggressive strengthening of the currency has more or less, has its own negative effects.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're using the exchange rate of, let's say, last year, at this price, dollar price, you will see that the discussion would have changed and all of that. And it was a bit interesting when the minister actually quoted the new cocoa price in USD, because that is a story worth telling.
Yeah.
But if you translate it to cedis, then I hope you understand that. So that was, I would say, a smart one there, right, and all of that. But it's not only that cocoa farmers are the highest paying tax or taxed. There's another way that we also cheat the cocoa farmer through lower exchange rate. Okay. So here you are saying that you are passing on, or you are retaining 30% of the FOB. But then the exchange rate you use over a period end up also not passing on the gains to the farmer. So for instance, we do our calculation, okay, we are using 10.25 and all of that, but really, if you check the real exchange rate or what is in the market today is higher than that. Over a long period until the next pricing window, the farmer doesn't really get all of this. So it's not just the 30% we are holding, but because we are also using a lower exchange rate, okay, in converting the USD to cedis, again, it affects the farmer. You recall 2012, 13 thereabout, there was an interesting discussion between COCOBOD and Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay, where Bank of Ghana was using a lower exchange rate to buy the cocoa proceeds, and they were reversing it in the market and opening, and they were making profit and all of that. So, look, we've adopted all kinds of, look, when we say we are smart, all that it means, let's cheat fellow Ghanaians. Let's adopt this, and then Kofi has also spoken about the inefficiencies of COCOBOD. Look, it's not just COCOBOD. If you check our state-owned enterprises, it's hurting to look at even the losses from there that the ultimate taxpayer has to come and assume. Let's go back. 2025 budget. In fact, not just 2025. You can check 2023, 2024. But I'm talking about 2025 budget. We have an allocation of 33.6 billion Ghana cedis that we call other expenditure. Please, what is this other expenditure? I hope you understand that. Essentially to cover for the inefficiencies of state-owned enterprises.
Private pockets.
We are covering for their inefficiencies largely. So the question is, if we were to run our state-owned enterprises efficiently, we could be making savings. This could have gone into maybe critical infrastructure or something like that. But I also see, look, I mean, let's be fair here. I see a certain genuine effort on the part of government to meet cocoa farmers
halfway.
I mean, we can't take that away from them. Look, if you, we can't take that away from them. Agreed. And then
you mean the issue of free fertilizers
and all of that, and even if you look at the FOB price and what they are passing on in terms of USD to farmers, I can see some improvement from that. But I think we should be looking at a whole reform in that cocoa value chain that makes that sector attractive to young people and then attractive to business people. We need to adopt a business approach to the cocoa industry so that we don't leave it to just peasant farmers who do 4 acre or so and all of that, so that we have commercial a plantation of cocoa, because we think that our future lies in there rather than just this kind of, well, if you like, otherwise in the next 10 years or so, we will not be talking about cocoa here, because actually some of them, if you do the analysis, they may be better off maybe trading off their farmland, cocoa land, for maybe for galamsey, because if you look at how much they are getting on a daily basis, the analysis you refer to and all of that, they are doing all those analysis. Cocoa farmers are confused. They are wondering which way to go and all of that. So please, I think that this is a failure.
A quick statistic. COCOBOD employs about 10,000 people across Ghana.
The staff of COCOBOD?
Yes. And has a monthly payroll of about $12 million.
$12 million?
Every month.
12 million cedis or dollars?
Dollars. Check. About, if you look at the emoluments that they pay on a monthly basis, so they are around 10,000. And by the way, I'm not sure anybody knows the exact figure. But you see, we say these things, you're shocked.
Very.
So I would want somebody to tell me it's not true. Because we checked and that's the information we got. I just checked again right now. $12 million converted to Ghana cedis being paid to some people every month to take care of cocoa farmers.
Very well. So I think it's only fair that I allow Frederick to deal with some of the issues, and then I conclude with Nana, who is still on Zoom. Yes, Frederick, you've heard all the analysis.
Sure. On Kofi Bentel's first principle, whether we even need COCOBOD at all, that's a philosophical argument we can make, and even extend it to other state agencies or other authorities or other regulatory authorities in the economy. I mean, we cannot seem to suggest that these agencies are not important. And COCOBOD, for example, I mean, we are saying that there's a supposed tax of 30% on the farmer, but the farmer doesn't transport, the farmer doesn't export, the farmer doesn't ship, the farmer doesn't look for farmers, the farmer doesn't look for all the things that would...
They don't pay LBCs.
They don't pay LBCs, all the things that would take the cocoa from the farm to the destination in Japan. So we shouldn't just simplify it as though
all of that cost is in the remaining 30%.
All of that cost is the remaining 30%.
Sorry. Farmers don't do that. The buyers go to the Farmgate and they handle that stuff. So I don't mean to banter with that. Let's be clear. Farmers never do that.
I mean, I'm saying that the COCOBOD, apart from we create an impression that maybe it's just an entity which is just there to siphon money from farmers, provide other services. I mean, for the broader conversation about whether they are being efficient and all those things, it's something we are looking at. It's something we can talk about. And that is why there's a COCOBOD restructuring going on. Another finance minister mentioned what it is that COCOBOD effectively, in the next amendment that is coming to their act, will be banned from undertaking all these quasi-fiscal activities, the cocoa rules and everything. And we announced that we have banned them actually from going on with these cocoa roads and other fiscal activities. All the outstanding cocoa road projects have been transferred to the Ministry of Roads and Highways to undertake them. So there is an effort by this government to ensure that there's some efficiency in the operations of cocoa. Now
but beyond what government has done with the cocoa roads, Kofi speaks about the sheer numbers in terms of the staff of COCOBOD and how much we are spending on them. Proper reform should look at that as well. No?
Excellent. So that's why there is an overall restructuring going on. And the economy, my other economists will tell you that apart from providing or ensuring efficient markets, entities are also they are set up for other reasons. Okay. Provide employment, they provide regulation, they provide stability. So there are other reasons where these entities are. But it's a broader conversation we all have in the restructuring of COCOBOD, which is happening. Rachel says that we lied when we said that they were keeping cocoa farmers. We didn't lie. And I mentioned here that the FOB price they quoted for which they paid 63% to farmers, 4,850, is actually lower than the prevailing FOB price at that time. Yeah. It was around 7,300. So they were keeping 2,450 of cocoa farmers. They didn't declare.
Cocoa farmers' money.
Of cocoa farmers' money. That is why we said they were keeping cocoa farmers' money. So that's what we mean.
But they also told you that in terms of the FOB, the average for the year was that amount.
So the average for the year was 7,300. You can check. Cocoa price. The average for the year was 7,300.
But they put it
4,800. And
from that they paid 3,100.
Then they paid 3,100. You understand?
Yeah.
We have quoted the average price as it is, 7,200. That's on the international market price. And hit the 70% off on it. And quoted the 5,050.
Okay.
So we didn't lie when we said they were keeping cocoa farmers' money.
Very well.
That is number one. The other thing is that, you see, you mentioned commercial farming and all these things. And part of the restructuring going on in there right now, as we speak, government, I should say, is currently working to acquire over 200,000 hectares of land. Because you see,
200,000 hectares of land
for cocoa plantation.
But that's huge.
That is huge.
Government is going to farming now.
No, government is not going to farming. Government is just identifying, and the private sector
will then take
because
over.
See, let's admit, because of the land tenure system and all these things, you need the sovereign to sort of put its weight and then ensure that
it's a barrier to FDI.
It's a barrier. So a lot of work.
Economics.
A lot of work is going on into this. Of course, I mean, it's still in the works, right? So a lot of work is going on to it to ensure that we would have an environmentally stable way of ensuring that our cocoa farms are still, I mean,
very quick. I want to,
Is it a follow-up question?
Yeah, it is very important. One, do you appreciate that the nature of our cocoa industry is a smallholder one?
Yes.
And that has a connection to the quality of our cocoa, which gains a premium. The plantation model kills that. Ivory Coast is an example. Sorry, please.
Okay.
Answer this together.
Okay.
Have you considered the cocoa galamsey economics, which tells us today that in a trajectory of 30 years, cocoa is going to go down? Now, if you're going to go into cocoa hectares, okay, as plantation model, you appreciate the kind of science that is required and the kind of knowledge and expertise, which is very different. Is the government going there? Please, this is the last one.
Yeah.
How much have we budgeted for that project? And how sure are we that we are going to get money? Because I can tell you, whether NDC or MPP, that the money will be spent. But at the end of the day, we'll come and give excuses why it failed.
No, but I think you said the government is only acquiring the land.
No.
And the private sector will come.
So I said like 3 or 4 things.
Let me explain.
The economics of it. Okay, you go.
Relax. Relax. We are just serving the soup. You are drinking the food. You are drinking the soup. See, the issue about the viability of the cocoa industry, that is what is informing government to take this step of doing or taking a bold intervention. Our quality, Ghana's premium cocoa, as vis-a-vis the other countries, is sort of a technology we have developed, which will be incorporated. So all these things are being worked on. Please let me answer. like I said, all these things are being worked on. But the most important thing I wanted to respond to Professor.
Finish my own. If you do everything, the quality thing you're talking about, because of time we can't go there, but the plantation model does not preserve our quality.
You can't make that. Relax. You don't make that definite statement. No, don't make that definite statement.
If we have time, I'll explain.
No.
The way we dry the cocoa, the way our farmers use the smallholder system and their families
to dry their cocoa.
Dry it.
You can't get that in the plantation.
The plantation models can't do that.
So what makes you think
and
that?
it affects the quality.
What makes you think that the plantation model cannot dry the cocoa like we are drying?
Because has done that.
What makes you say that we'll do the same plantation like Ivory Coast is doing?
Oh, so you're going to do something. Somebody has done it next door, and you think you're going to.
No, but it's still in the works. It's still in the works.
It's still in the works. That's what I'm saying. You still give I'm happy for you to try and develop the cocoa industry.
Ask him how they are going to do it.
My worry, based on all this analysis we've done over the years, the money will be spent. I'm telling you, the first major problem, the Galamsey cocoa economy shows that cocoa cannot compete Galamsey. So if you do all of these things and we don't deal with Galamsey, forget it.
It will not work. Okay, finally, and let me bring Nana in.
So on the economics of things, I mean, I'm sure the paper will be out. You will read it. As usual, we would invite civil society like yourself and to critique.
I've seen bits of that.
We will invite you.
We are restructuring plan.
So you can talk to our researchers. Not palm oil and all of that. So,
we always open ourselves. Yeah, we always open ourselves up. We put
I'm willing to give government the benefit of the doubt.
Yes. To critique whatever policy we are bringing to ensure that. But what I'm saying, the point or the crux of my argument is that there is an effort to restructure the cocoa sector and reduce or eliminate the inefficiencies therein. We admit that there are inefficiencies. That is why government is taking these steps to ensure that the cocoa sector is viable over the next 30 years and beyond, and then also it is viable now and we don't lose our cocoa industry.
Freddie, thank you. Nana, are you still on the line? Okay, I hear Nana will be rejoining any moment from now. I just wanted to find out. Nana, are you on now? Hello, Nana? Nana, please unmute and let me hear you.
Yes, I'm on now.
Fantastic. So as a farmer yourself, are you really expecting, or were you expecting the 6,000 Ghana cedis as promised?
Dodge that question and say that I would not even focus on pricing. I would just like to respond to a few of the things that were being discussed earlier on.
Okay.
You know, there's a conversation has to start and has to continue about how we restructure our cocoa sector for ourselves. Price is one part of the discussion. I think the most important part of the discussion is value addition of what we do with our cocoa such that we benefit and use it for ourselves. You know, this whole idea about going to do plantation and all that thing that it actually reflects financial people sitting down and making projections based on how much they are going to get. It has no consideration of the ecology or of the actual reality on the ground of what cocoa farming is or what it does. You know, first and foremost, as Mr. Benton mentioned, our quality depends very much on how we handle our cocoa. And we get a premium, and we actually impact the confectionery industry significantly. Because when big buyers are buying cocoa, they actually buy Ghana cocoa to flavor cocoa, not to use as just simple chocolate. No. We have a unique position in the cocoa sector because of the kind of way we do our cocoa. That's going to be lost with any commercial way. But let me just come back to responding to the commercial thing as well. You know, our basic foodstuffs, whether it is plantain, whether it is cassava, whether it is cocoa yam, whatever, come from the cocoa growing areas. Plus our wood stocks, which we've lost a lot of, emery, ofram, mahogany, whatever. So, look, cocoa is a mid-level forest crop. Cocoa is not a monocrop. So anybody who talks about plantations is actually saying we are going to do reforestation. Because without a forest, you cannot grow cocoa productively, properly, and to make a profit out of it. you can invest whatever technology, and I can tell you straightforward, what COCOBOD will try and do is to contract out lands to Olam, to Cargill, to those big players that have the money and technology to put in irrigation and whatever. What are you saying to we smallholder farmers? Are you now coming to compete against us? Is that what you are suggesting?
So what would you rather government had done?
We are saying that we as a farmers, we are coming up with a Farmers Front, a United Farmers Board.
Okay.
You know, it's high time that we took more control exactly of what we have. You know, because, for example, myself, and again, just looking historically at how we have evolved. Look, a lot of the actual people who are doing farmers now, farming, cocoa farming right now, are not the landowners. We have a landowner-tenure system. And I'm a landowner in addition to being a farmer.
Okay.
You know, when you make the thing attractive, then you can do reinvestment. I'm able to do certain reinvestments because I add value. I process and I do different things with my cocoa. Plus, I run a cocoa ecotourism business, which brings in revenue. So I'm able to invest in simple things like handheld machines in our aboboya, etc. I'm able to give certain incentives to my farmers that I work with, such that I'm productive and professional. You know, until we start looking at this, rather than, I'm sorry, and I'm very amused at the way the politicians there are attacking each other and creating their own mini program, while we, the business and professionally independent people, are talking about cocoa as a business. Until we start to do actual costing and revenue appropriation, plus run the thing as a business, this whole thing about telling me that you're going to give me 6,000 or 10,000, meanwhile it doesn't cover my cost of production, plus you are now telling me you're going to give me free stuff, meanwhile it is stuff that you're actually taking from me. It's completely unfair and unrealistic. So let us have a genuine conversation. You know, and again, just to end on my note, you know, I attended an event yesterday and I just want to show it. Ghana to the world. This is about a restaurant owner who is actually in the US, who's actually doing food and etc. and doing simple stuff which he's actually trying to involve the use of cocoa differently, etc. We've got to start utilizing the thing ourselves first and foremost. And two, we've got to start looking at how we restructure and do things differently, whether it is a commodities exchange that we have in the West African sub-region, which is something the ICCU are looking at, whether we look at the independent model like the Ethiopians have done with their coffee, etc. There are ways in which we can do things differently. But sorry, to continue doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome is being foolish. And I'm sorry, this whole idea about this talk about plantation, whatever, it's almost like you are telling us and rubbing it on our nose that after messing up and cheating us, etc., you are now going to bring some foreign players to come and run our systems. No, it's not acceptable.
Very well. Nana, we are grateful. Thank you so much for the insight you've shared with us. We would have to make progress. Thank you. Nana is spokesperson for the Cocoa Farmers Association. Yes, Richard, a minute, and then I'll go for a break.
You know, Obi, respectfully, I want to disagree with Prof. When he says, I think he's being very generous, overly generous to this government. You see, when he says that both parties owe Ghanaians apology, it's not true. The NDC owe the cocoa farmer an apology for lying that they'll pay them 6,000 and they are not paying them. The exchange rate conversation Prof raised also, if we use even the 15.5, okay, that we use to calculate the 3,100, even if you use that, they won't get the 6,000 they were promised. So that's a complete lie, a criminal lie. They lied to the Ghanaians. So the question of my brother saying that, again, that they are providing what do you call free fertilizer and all those things, those are not new, right? Even under us, we went a step further. And
you did 50%.
Exactly.
So they paid farmers paid part in
Yes,
government,
but
they are doing it free.
Here is an additional, which is not going to be free anyway. The point we are making is that, look, even under us, you know about the living income differential.
Sure.
Per ton, $400 was earned for the farmer, okay? In addition to that, you remember the cocoa rehabilitation program that was done? Over $200 million was allocated.
The AFDB loan.
Exactly. To rehabilitate farms, for cocoa farmers. Cut down the trees.
What's happened to the farms?
Well, the farms
have aged.
The
farms have aged. Where are the farms?
I don't think
where are the farms you planted?
No problem. No problem.
Where are the farms you planted?
You are sitting at grass where the farms planted.
You just hold on.
Guys, one at a time, please. One at a time, please. Hold on. One at a time.
So, Obi, whilst we were doing that,
the farms were supposed to lead to increase in production.
You have been interrupted minutes ago.
The monies were just squandered.
So you are saying what I'm saying.
Spending the money. Let me hear it and then we'll go and come back.
Whilst that was happening, the cocoa farmer was paid per hectare 1,000 Ghana cedis to support. So that was done. The idea that you were saying that where are the farms? That one, I can't answer that for you here.
It is in the annual production that you inherited.
Hold on, let me just conclude for you. So the truth of the matter is that, Obi.
15 seconds.
Yes, the truth of the matter is that the NDC lied to Ghanaians. This conversation about the inefficiency of COCOBOD, that is well noted. But you see, my brother saying it is very rich, that they are going to deal with inefficiency by earning some lands and allocating and all that. The last time we heard the finance minister talk about inefficiency and how he's not going to tolerate it was in the case of ECG, right? Mm-hmm. That he will not compensate ECG's inefficiency by raising tariff. But what happened? He went ahead and passed the devil level.
I would have to go and come back.
That is the issue. Listen, that is the issue. And you must apologize.
All the benefit. This is what people should take away. At the end of this month, COCOBOD will pay $12 million to 10,000 people to try and manage cocoa. They've been doing that for 30 years, and cocoa is going down. They can save that money.
Thank you. We'll pause here for a short break. When we come back, we'll deal with the Bank of Ghana and then GTech after this short break. Stay with us.